Hello. Welcome back to the house in Fata Morgana. Door 8. We're here. Door 8 is going to have a lot of emotions. With it, I'm going to do some longer streams. This doesn't matter to people watching VODs, but for people who are watching live, I am having a surgery at the end of this month, and I don't want to leave anything on a cliffhanger, so there are going to be longer streams, and they are going to be more, potentially, depending on how far we get tonight. Oh boy. The trigger warnings up to this point are basically the same as they've been for Door 1 and any of Morgana's story. Man, I'm so excited for this. Don't forget, I do have the link for Ukraine still in my bio. That is still an ongoing conflict, unfortunately. So if there's anything that you would like to do, or can do, I recommend that you do it. Just helping people out, you know? So, last time we saw Morgana, finally in the flesh. And she challenged us to the notion that the white-haired girl was her. We said that it was. She insisted it was a Michelle, but there's something not quite right about that notion either. So we are stepping back into her past to find out the truth behind everything that has happened. Not that her claims were at all invalid. It's just we're missing information. There's something missing from this picture. Right before we got into this, we did see a quick scene with a boy and his sister, as well as a nun and an unknown man meeting in the moonlight. And then someone standing outside the door to Morgana's tower. All right, let's get into this. I'm so excited. Wake up. Please wake up. Come on. Open your eyes. Michelle. So bright. Outside. The light feels like needles in my eyes. The first thing I see beyond the mansion's darkness is blinding light. The sun glares mercilessly overhead. A gentle breeze blows past, and I can hear birds chirping from several different directions. Each breath I take fills my lungs with the scent of earth and grass. So much time has passed since I've been in the light. I almost feel like I'm alive again. No, not almost. What's going on? What on earth? Is this the era Morgana lived? Michelle? Huh? Oh, thank goodness. You can hear me. Good morning, Master. I hope you slept well. Giselle, is that voice really you? I swear it's me, 100%. I'm not that mean old phony. So don't you worry. No, I believe it's you. I just was not expecting to be able to hear you here. Also, we're gonna get some of the best facial expressions from Michelle in this door. They are just so good. He has been kind of expressionless up to this point, and it has also just been, as the protagonist, not looking at us. It's gonna be a good time. I did say I would always be by your side. I'm relieved. But where are you, Giselle? I can't see you anywhere. Well, I'm not exactly sure myself. You don't know? I don't know how to describe it. It's pitch dark all around me. Like a black smoke churning in the darkness. It feels a lot like the inside the mansion. But I don't think I'm actually in the mansion. So you're still trapped in the void then? I can see a shimmering light off in the distance through the fog, and I can hear sounds coming from that direction. It's like the outside world is leaking in through the light. I can see the trees rustling, hear birds singing. I can't see you though. So I assumed I was seeing through your eyes. And I thought I'd try getting your attention. So that means you can see everything I can. Seems so. Though I don't think I can see quite as clearly as you. I wish you could be here to feel this too. Experience in my place even. It's a bizarre sensation. While I could see and feel the world through the other doors, it was strictly in the capacity of an observer. We were merely watching, not actually present in the tales. But this time, it's like I've been resurrected and dropped into the world as a participant. It's all so vivid. Everything the mansion lacked, it's all here, and I can feel it so clearly. I wish you could have been the one to experience this. It's okay, Michelle. I know you'll dispel this darkness I'm in. Won't you? I will. I'm more than happy just being able to hear your voice and being able to see what you see. It's like a miracle. I too am glad to know that you're there. To have the chance to hear your voice again. Thank you so much for saving me. If you hadn't shown up, I wouldn't be here. Oh no, I should be thanking you. I was overjoyed to learn how much you really cared about me. There are so many things I want to say right now. So many things I want you to know. So many thank yous. And so many I love yous. Hey now, is that really the best response you've got? Surely you can do better than that. You're embarrassing me. I am somewhat disappointed by one thing, though. I can't get any hugs or kisses since I'm not there in person. Oh, come on! You're not very good at this, are you? And you're not very good at picking up on how much you're embarrassing me. I'd expect at the very least a me too. Also, there's some great Giselle faces, and that is one of them. We should start by figuring out when and where exactly this is. You're not even trying, are you? I'm doing the best I can. Please, don't ask any more of this than... Don't ask any more than this of me. It's okay, though. I might not be able to see you, but we're together either way. You know, Michelle, I think I might be able to help, too. While I can't be there in person, I can give you ideas, another point of view when you're not sure about something. With the two of us together, we'll find a way through this. Yes, we will. Where to begin? Why do you say we get our bearings? List out exactly what we need to take care of. That's not a bad idea. I'm a bit frazzled at the moment, to tell you the truth. What? Why? I'd assume we would just be observers, like with the other doors, searching their memories for clues. I never expected I'd actually be thrown into their era. True, it's not at all like the other doors. No matter how the rules may change, I'm seeing this through to the end. Michelle, I think that you're present here because Morgana wanted you here. That's my theory. If our guess is correct, and we have arrived at Morgana's past, then we need to uncover the truth behind those events. Or rather, the three men's circumstances. What they felt, what drove them. My gut tells me there's something to be found there that even Morgana doesn't know. I could be wrong, and it's possible that even if I am right, what we find won't do anything to quell her hatred. But we won't be talking her out of it, that's for sure. Words won't break through that kind of animosity. We need something bigger. Something she could never have imagined. Something that will turn her entire worldview on its head. The white-haired girl might be a good place to start. She showed up at the mansion again and again, as though led there by some supernatural force. And she was involved with all three men in some way. I can't think of anyone else with such deep ties to both the mansion and the men. But at the same time, I have a hard time convincing myself that the Morgana we know and the white-haired girl could be the same person. They are about as different as two people can be. Which actually leads me to believe there's something there. There must be something. Some secret we haven't figured out yet that we can use. So let's find it. It won't be easy. If we are in the past, though, I wonder, maybe could we change it? This could be a huge chance for us. Change the past. Yeah, we could prevent Morgana's death, or we could stop whatever led them down this path. There's an idea. If it's actually possible, maybe we can do something. The question is the world really... I'm getting kind of pumped. I've got my game face on and I'm ready to do this. Doesn't do much good if no one can see it. It's a figure of speech. Okay, first things first, we need to find the mansion. Morgana should be at the top of the observation tower, and the three men shouldn't be too far off either. So the question is, where are we? Do you recognize the surroundings at all? I never really left the mansion, so I'm not especially familiar with the lay of the land. Give me a little spin, would you? As she requests, I slowly spin around in a circle. And through the dense woods, I spot a cluster of what appears to be stone formations. Squinting to get a better look, I realize they're buildings. It's decently far off, but it appears to be the edge of a city. I think that might be the village I stayed at for a while. It's a bit big for a village. Don't you remember what Amade said about the village's history? Amade, that bastard. Michelle, you didn't think something uncharacteristically vulgar just now, did you? Wouldn't dream of it. Yes, I remember. He said it was once much larger, and that it was destroyed in a single week by the witch's curse. Except rather than a curse, it was probably disease. If that's the same city, then it fits with what Morgana said happened. I believe he also said something about there being a large bridge on the outskirts of the city, and that following the path from there would lead to the mansion. So let's head down to the city. All right. You don't sound very enthusiastic. Are you nervous you might have to talk to someone? Don't worry, you've got me here. Don't treat me like I'm antisocial. Then don't be antisocial. You're not? No, that's not what's bothering me. It's something about this whole thing feels off. This world we're in. Never mind. I'm probably overthinking things. But now's not the time for that. We need to get moving. Let's go. Rather than waste time fretting over details, we need to get to the mansion like she said. Everything else comes after that. With each step, I can feel the earth compressing beneath my feet, the grass flattening. As I weave my way through the trees toward the city, the sensation of having a living flesh and blood body slowly returns. Well, well, well. Look at your little tunic. A white-haired man just appeared out of nowhere! Michelle's face. I won't whoop him, please do. And he's talking to himself! I gotta get away before he does something. Hold it right there, Mel. You don't get to call me crazy and then just run off. How do you know my name? How? Why wouldn't I? We're just in the mansion together. Huh? Mansion? What are you talking about? Right. He hasn't become the shadow in the mansion yet. I doubt I would forget seeing someone as unusual as you. Who are you? And where did you come from? Where? I'd like to know that myself. Say something, Michelle. He's not getting any less suspicious of you. You have to come up with some way to break the tension. Improvisation isn't exactly my strong suit. So, should I say I'm God? This kid fears God, though. I don't want him to be afraid of me. I know that I am God. I don't need to affirm it to this child. I was sleeping in a fucking tree. It sure looked like you just popped out of nowhere. You imagined it. It was so sudden your mind misinterpreted what you saw. Is that too much of a stretch? Yeah, you're right. I must have been seeing things. People can't just appear out of thin air. On nice days like this, I'll sometimes climb a tree and take a nap too. And then roll over and fall flat on my face. So I can relate. Michelle, napping in a tree. I can't even imagine it. Me neither. Also, it would seem that, like Morgana's, I'm the only one who can hear Giselle's voice. But that doesn't explain how you know my name. You look a lot like an acquaintance of mine. Imagine my surprise when it turns out you have the same name, too. That's definitely pushing it. Call yourself God and you'll get busted for heresy again. Oh yeah, that happens to me every now and then too. Jeez, you had me spooked for a second there. God, Mel, you're so stupid. While on one hand, I'm glad he bought it, I feel perhaps he's a little too trusting. He's the kind of guy who just keeps on walking when he runs across something out of the ordinary, pretending he didn't see a thing. Not the most admirable of traits, but we're in the clear. I assume you're from the city then, if you're out here. Actually, no. I'm a wanderer of sorts. Oh? Huh. Did you come by to see the Harvest Festival then? Harvest Festival? You don't know about it then? 3 days from now, we're holding a festival at the church to celebrate the spring harvest. 3 days. Morgana died when the bell tolled noon on the day of the festival, which means she's got that much time left. This will be the first time we've held the festival, so we're hoping to make it into a big event, something really memorable. It'll be memorable, alright. A young girl is dying behind the scenes of this seemingly pleasant celebration. If her death is 3 days from now, that might give us enough time to do something about it. Could I ask you to show me the way to the church? I would like to join in on the festivities. Sure, yeah. Of course. The church's doors are open to all, friends and family and wanderers alike. It's not far. Follow me. Thank you. It didn't occur to me until now, but this really is a strange experience. This is a boy from a completely different time period, who I would have never had the opportunity to meet. If he's here, then presumably the other two are as well. Which means Morgana's wish for the reconstruction was actually granted. This Mel doesn't seem like any different a person than the one I observed through the first door. Yet he played a part in Morgana's imprisonment. I have trouble believing he would voluntarily involve himself, though. I was scared for a minute there. That could have gone a lot worse. Plus, we managed to make contact with Mel in record time. And this music is nostalgic. She's interacted with him and the others before, so I guess this doesn't feel as strange to her. You don't want him to hear you talking to yourself again. That's why you're not saying anything to me, isn't it? Actually, I think I can talk to you without speaking. Can you hear me? How are you doing that? I have a lot of experience talking to ghosts. That really drives home how bizarre things were for you in that mansion. Were you not in similar circumstances when it was you and Morgana together? Yeah, now that you mention it. What a bizarre time we both had in that mansion. You're just now realizing this? So what's your impression of him? My impression? That he's the same Mel as always? In a little more detail? He's an amicable young man. Nice enough to show a complete stranger around. I agree. In Morgana's version of the story, he betrayed her. But he doesn't seem like the kind of person who would enthusiastically do something so malicious. He had to have some reason. We need to figure out what that was. The question is, how do we go about it? We hardly have enough time to earn his trust and convince him to tell us himself. We'll just have to put the knowledge I already have to good use. Oh, that reminds me. Something that might explain it? No, about Morgana. When you were alive, she was always right there with you, like I am now, right? Whenever it struck her fancy, yes. She didn't seem to care when or where. She would just start talking whenever she felt like it. Whenever? For the most part, yes. Anytime she wanted. Giselle? You don't have to worry about that with me. I know when to keep my mouth shut. Promise. What? You said you feel like you're alive again, right? My five senses all seem to be in working order. Which means you'll also be getting hungry, tired, sleepy, and, you'll Huh? You'll have to go to the bathroom. I'll be polite and close my eyes and plug my ears while you're doing it. Thanks? What possessed her to bring that up? Does she even realize what she's saying? Oh gosh, now I'm as red as a tomato. That answers that. Moving right along. We need to discuss how we're going to go about this. Right, that! The Harvest Festival is our deadline, which doesn't give us very much time. We need a plan for when we arrive at the mansion. How about we spill their secret? Tell everyone about the girl they've got locked up in the tower and force them to set her free. Surely they wouldn't stand for that. Perhaps, but would anyone believe me? If I walked in and said I came from the future, and that I know what's going to happen, would anyone actually buy that? Sure, with enough convincing. Even if I did manage to convince them, the tower door was locked in Morgana's rendition of the tale. You need 3 keys to get inside. Mel should have one of them, but stealing his alone won't be enough to get into the tower. True. If Giselle is right and we can save Morgana and change the future, then that would indeed solve everything. But something about this whole situation still doesn't sit right with me. I have to do more than just set her free of that tower. I have to find the truth as well, as I initially set out to do. Regardless, I would like to try and stay on everyone's good side as much as possible for now. Okay, I'll do whatever I can to help. I appreciate it. I mean, as you know, conversation is not exactly my strong suit. Which means it's my job to hit the brakes whenever you say something stupid. It's a bit too late if I've already said it. Anyway, step 1 is to get ourselves into the mansion. We can't hope to make contact with the other 2 men, much less Morgana out of there, if we're not staying by. I'll do what I can. We're almost there. See the big building in the distance? That's the church. It is the same mansion as I suspected. Seeing it now, knowing what horrible things happened there, is so disheartening. Whoops, wrong voice, sorry, suddenly Michelle's British. Are happening as we speak. In the tower we see in the distance, Morgana's locked up, all alone. I wish we could just march in there and set her free. If getting into the tower were our only goal, we could probably force our way in with a little work. Is something the matter? Well, I could probably overpower him and get his key. Hello? But the other 2, that's almost certainly wouldn't work for. Can you hear me? Oh, yes, sorry. I was lost in thought. Seems kind of strange, doesn't it? What does? I mean, it doesn't look much like a church. At a glance, you'd think it was some noble's estate. So it does. I've spent so long there, it never even occurred to me. I was pretty surprised when I first saw it myself. A peculiar place, all told. There's a chapel inside the mansion with this gorgeous stained glass window. It's quite the sight. Do you know why it was built like that? I'm not actually sure myself, no. Anyway, I'll show you to the chapel. The saintess should be there too, so I can introduce you. The saintess? You've never heard of her? Everyone around here knows her. She's a nun at the church, and everyone calls her the saintess. She's practically her own religious figure. Oh, he's not talking about Morgana. You'll just have to see for yourself. Come on. All right. On our way to the mansion, we passed through a courtyard of sorts. When I lived here, the area was overgrown with weeds. Apparently they kept it in better condition in this era. Following Mel's lead, we head through the chapel entrance. Oh my. I'm at a loss for words when I see what lies on the other side of those all too familiar doors. While it was barely recognizable as a place of worship in my memory, just 2 columns of battered pews and some piles of rubble. The room I'm looking at now is unequivocally a chapel. So this is what it used to look like. I wonder how far back this is from when we lived. It has to be more than a decade or 2. Maybe 100 years? Or more. The views and beliefs about the world prevalent in our time are not so different than those of this time. Perhaps the chapel was destroyed in the aftermath of the Harvest Festival. When I was first sent to the mansion, there were signs that repairs had been attempted. The stained glass window is behind the pulpit, I'm guessing, and we can't see it from here. And right next to it is the door to the observation tower. Ah, there she is! There's no priest here. She runs the church. You'll want to talk to her first if you're planning to participate in the Harvest Festival. I'll go fetch her for you. Whisking his way between the pews, the boy disappears into the back of the chapel, returning with the nun in tow. When I see her, my face twists for a brief moment. Good afternoon! You came to see the festival, I hear?
It's wonderful to have you.
Is that who I think it is? I'm all but certain at this point that all the major players from behind the 3 doors are present here. Not just the 3 men whose shadows remain in the mansion, but also the women who were important parts of their lives. Though dressed differently, the way she speaks and the way she holds herself resembles the woman killed by her lover behind the second door. And if you take a look at her belt, it's the same. They're all connected. What we thought were 3 separate tales, all stretch back to a single point in time before our own.
Is there something the matter?
No, I was just thinking how unusual it is for one nun to be managing an entire church all by herself.
Yes, that's the usual reaction from new visitors. Even I think this assignment is a bit over my head.
Assignment?
Well, I was at another church before this one. A smaller building, and I wasn't the only nun. But the Lord of the Land ordered me to transfer to a new, larger church he was opening. So here I am.
The Lord.
There's plenty of space on the property. More than enough to provide shelter for orphan children and aid for the sick.
It seems rather vacant from what I've seen.
Yes, about that. We used to take people in, but circumstances have made that difficult of late.
What kind of circumstances?
It's not something I can discuss with an outsider. Sorry.
I'm guessing it has to do with Morgana's imprisonment here. Do you think she knows about Morgana? I would guess not. The men swore to keep it between the 3 of them. So she's being forced to oversee the mansion completely oblivious of what's happening here. Which isn't to say she's not connected to it in some way. If she's the girl from the second tale, then she should be close with...
Is something troubling you?
No, my apologies. I got lost in thought.
You don't look it, but you're actually a bit of a daydreamer, aren't you?
Daydreamer? Mel would fit that description much better. Mel would fit that description much better. What? Why? Do I really look like that much of an airhead?
Oh, I can see that. Someone has to watch out for him, or he's likely to lose his head in the clouds.
I really don't think I'm that spacey.
I'm not trying to say you're spacey. I just feel like I've got to keep one eye on you at all times. It's a lot like what I imagine having a little brother would be like.
I'm an oldest child, you know.
What's the big deal? You don't want a big sister? Well, I want you to be my little brother. I don't want to be just a capital S sister to you. That's so stiff and formal. No, I want to be your sister.
I'm a little old to be playing make-believe.
Oh, come on.
You're quite friendly with one another, it would seem. Oh, I know. Why don't you become her brother then? What?
Will you?
I will not. Besides, I'm clearly the oldest one here. Why not? I don't think it matters who's older than who. You don't really act all that old anyway. I have at least 10 years on you. Your youngest child insecurity's showing. Relatable. Insecurity?
You two are pretty good friends, huh?
We can discuss the veracity of that claim later. I would like to ask you a favor.
What is it? I'll gladly help with anything I can.
Could I perhaps borrow a room until the day of the Harvest Festival? I don't have anywhere to stay. Or a source of income, for that matter. I know it would be taking advantage of your generosity, but I only need to intrude for a few days.
I would be more than happy to offer you a place to stay at any other time. But right now, I can't let you stay here. I'm so sorry.
Well, damn. So much for that.
Don't let one little no stop you. Keep pushing. Put on a show, earn her sympathy. She's a lady of the cloth. If you make her feel bad for you, she'll offer you her aid.
Put on a show? You expect me to act? I'm having another episode. I was so sure this church would be able to help.
That's not going to convince anyone.
Quiet, you. He was perfectly fine on our walk here. Shut your mouth, boy.
As I said, we did once offer a place of respite for the ailing and needy. Regrettably, for the time being, we are unable to take anyone in. What I can do, though, is give you medicine. Since we can't let people stay here, with the Lord's generous assistance, we've been handing out medicine instead.
So all you do here, then, is give people medication?
Yes, I suppose that's what it boils down to. I'm honestly not sure why we're not allowed to offer shelter right now, but we are still able to provide assistance to those in need, so I assume it's just a temporary measure and we'll be able to take the people in again before long. And with how much he's done for the church, it's not really my place to complain about his decisions. I truly am sorry. I hope you understand. I'm supposed to ask for a tithe in exchange normally, but just this once, it's yours, free of charge.
Could you tell me more about this medicine, please?
It's called Saint's Blood, and it'll cure any disease.
Saint's blood.
It's not real blood, of course. That's just what it's called. It sure sounds divine, doesn't it?
No, that's not true.
Huh?
It is real blood.
What do you...
Sorry to butt in. Do you mind if I bring him back to my room? I don't think I mentioned it, but he's an old friend of mine. We've got a lot of catching up to do.
All right.
Hey, come on. This way.
Well, that sure got quite the reaction out of him. And now he's incredibly leery of you.
When she mentioned the blood, I couldn't stop myself. I probably should have kept my mouth shut, though. We'll make it work, don't worry. We will make this work. Mel doesn't say a word the entire way. His smile has retreated. There's a hint of fear lurking beneath his now stony expression. I spin the trek through the mansion's corridors, pondering how to answer the questions I know are coming. I keep wanting to be like, why are these people just drinking a thing being called blood? And then I remembered, I'm Catholic. Yeah, y'all are wild. How to solve the problem I put myself in. We enter a bedroom, presumably his, and he closes the door behind us. I can see the distrust in his eyes as he glares at me. I have to ask, who exactly are you? Why did you say that back there? That saint's blood is actual blood. In response to his pressing eye. Oh boy. So, I don't normally like to give away what bad endings are, and there is a point where I'm going to go over the bad endings, but with Mel, A lot of people defend him being like, oh, he's so innocent, like he would never do anything bad, like he just got himself wrapped up in this uwu. Telling him everything here leads to him tricking you and bringing the others to kill you. He's a coward, and that cowardice can be just as dangerous as someone who is outright villainous like Yukimasa was. But we're gonna tread carefully. We don't have much time, but it's in our best interest to tread carefully. There's too much we don't know yet. It would not be wise to make such a rash decision. With him as tense and suspicious as he is right now, it won't be easy to get his key or persuade him to tell us how he ended up here. Furthermore, my experiences with the Three Shades tell me that if I'm not careful, I could be putting myself in unimaginable danger. A brief flash of what might have happened had I spoke too soon crosses my mind, sending a chill down my spine. If I want to get Mel on my side, I'm going to need something more, something decisive. Something that'll convince him he needs to come clean and set Morgana free. Regardless, being cautious isn't going to mean much if I can't get them to let us stay in the mansion. We need to be nearby to keep an eye on things, gather information. How to go about that, though?
Assuming he's not voluntarily involved, maybe all we have to do is ask for his help in setting Morgana free and he'll work with us?
Perhaps. Being so direct will only invite more suspicion. But she's probably on the right track. When I met his shadow, it was burdened with great regret. He begged me to help him. My remark about the saint's blood was based on stories I once heard about a person whose blood was said to have had healing properties. Stories? Maybe they haven't made it out this far, I don't know. But they tell of a girl born in a distant village, a saint and the daughter of God. I thought that perhaps the nun might be the saint spoken of in the stories, and I was hoping for the opportunity to see a miracle performed with my own eyes. I have to say, you looked more angry than excited. I didn't hide it very well, I guess. Maybe it appeared that way to you, but I've never had a very friendly face. If you say so. As long as you're telling the truth. I myself have to wonder, why did my remarks seem to bother you so much? What? Is there something more to the saint's blood that you're telling me? No. Something that would make you want to get me alone and interrogate me? There's nothing. I just, didn't want to scare anyone with all the talk of blood, since there's not actually any in it. And I didn't know about the stories, so... It's just medicine, I swear. As you say. It's got nothing to do with the saint in your stories. To change the subject, could I ask you to convince the nun to allow me to stay here? Huh? Aren't you listening? We can't take anyone in right now. Which is why I'm asking for your recommendation. You live on the premises, don't you? I'm more a supervisor of sorts. Then you should have some say in the matter. Why? Until the Harvest Festival is all I'm asking. Why not get a room at an inn? If you need money, I'll spare you some coin. I must stay in this mansion. But why? Those are my instructions. What? You know the stained glass window in the chapel, behind the pulpit? I was named after the Archangel Michael depicted there. The angel came to me in a vision, instructing me to watch over the festival here. I can talk, it's fine, don't worry about it. From where you were standing, you couldn't possibly have seen the window in that much detail. You couldn't. Oh, I get it. You've been to the church before, and you're just acting like you haven't. There's a metal door off to the side, leading to an observation tower. Yeah? You can You can see the tower from the outside. Inside is a long spiral staircase. Not made of stone, but wood. There's a single door at the top of the stairs. How? What are you really here for? All that vision stuff is a lie. I am not here to cause you any trouble. In fact, I am on your side. You show up out of nowhere and expect me to believe your nonsense. All I ask is for you to allow me to stay until the day of the festival. If you can do that for me, then I'll make you the promise I could not before. I have not forgotten your pleas for salvation. I know you want to be free. Let me guess, you saw that in a vision too? If you want to call it that, then you can. I've never once asked for you to save me. You're mad. But, fine. I've got nothing to hide anyway. If I say you're a friend, the Saintess should be willing to accommodate you. Wait, I already told you you were my friend, didn't I? I'll try and persuade her. I don't know what your deal is, but try not to cause any trouble, okay? For your own sake. I won't. Only until the festival. You're not getting another day out of me or her. And this isn't your home, so don't act like it is. Of course. Thank you. You know, I never did get your name. It's Michelle. Ah, right. After the Archangel Michael. Michael, I can talk. It's hard to switch back and forth between the British accent, which I'm not British, but that and Michelle's voice, which is very soft-spoken. Just like you said. Never really cared for Michael, to be honest. He weighs your soul in one hand on his perfectly balanced scales, then delivers its punishment with the sword in the other. He's not an angel of salvation. Out of curiosity, could you perhaps be... No, never mind. It's turned into a bit of a storage area, but there's an open room you can use. I'll show you the way. I appreciate your courtesy. Well, this is just lovely. There are cracks in the ceiling and the walls peeling off. Don't make fun of me, man. He's baby, Your Honor. Mel wishes he was baby. He's bastard. Actually, no, that's a lie. He's bitch. Yukimasa's baby. There is a bed, at least, but it's coated in dust. This was a storage room when I lived here, as I recall. Sorry about the condition. I didn't choose a bad room for you on purpose, I promise. I don't believe you. If you want to sleep somewhere more comfortable, you're not going to find that here. Not a problem. I'm grateful to have a room at all. If you say so. Well, I have work to do, so I should be on my way. I'll talk to the Saintess, as promised. I imagine she'll make supper for you at some point. But do keep your crazy talk to yourself around her. I'll make a note of it. Thank you. See you. Finally, that bitch is gone. We made it work. Somehow. It's a lot of pressure being under that much suspicion, huh? My heart was pounding the whole time. And that the Archangel Michael came to me in a vision stuff. I never expected you to go there. Why'd you tell him that anyway? because I didn't think telling him I know the future and I need your help to change it would have gone over very well. Besides, those who yearn for redemption have a tendency to latch on to the spiritual. I thought taking advantage of that would work to our benefit.
You know, I bet you'd make a pretty good con artist, Michelle.
I did what I thought was necessary.
I know. Besides, you have every intention of keeping your promise, don't you?
Whether or not Mel can be saved is up to him. I will lend him my hand, though.
Oh, you say it's all on him, but deep down you know you're on his side. We're complete strangers to this Mel, but I can't bring myself to think of him that way. We just met today, but it feels like reuniting with an old friend. He's the same old Mel.
And you were actually there, part of his life, which I imagine makes the sentiment all the stronger.
You don't feel the same way?
I don't think of him as a total stranger, no. However, nothing. I was about to say something incredibly cynical, and I caught myself.
What?
It's nothing. Don't worry about it.
If you say so.
I was always the one with nothing to offer, powerless to be of anyone's help. So if anything's motivating me, it's not concern for the boy, but a desire to prove that someone like me can do something.
It didn't take much arm twisting to get him to give us a room, so who knows? Maybe he'll come over to our side easier than either of us expect.
Him giving us a room was not simply out of kindness. Keeping me nearby allows him to keep an eye on me. He doesn't trust me, but he also doesn't know enough about me to decide what to do yet. He needs time, and doing this gives him that time. If he decides keeping me around is not to his advantage, he will act accordingly.
Do you really think he'll do anything to hurt you?
Yes.
Mel's a kind boy, and well, to be frank, I don't think he has the spine for it.
It's hard to say, but even if he doesn't, we still have the other two men to worry about. Nevertheless, his cooperation will undoubtedly be the easiest of the three to gain. Sure will. We are fortunate to run into him first.
What makes you say that?
Did you ever have a chance to see the shadows trapped in the mansion?
Shadows? I might have. But around the time Hayden Rhodes passed away, I wasn't really there anymore. I stopped thinking, stopped trying to make sense of the things inhabiting the house. I had become merely another part of the cursed mansion.
I was only able to converse with them after I had reclaimed myself. I suppose, much like the rules differ between the realms of the living and the dead, so too do they differ for those who have lost their grip on reality. As I was searching for a way to get you out of the tower, I encountered and spoke with the three men's shadows. Of the three, Mel was the least threatening.
I don't know, Michelle. Yukimasa gave it up pretty easy, and then Mel made you stick your arm into the stone bramble for nothing.
Sorry. He bears a great deal of regret. He yearns for someone to save him. I heard him muttering, "This isn't what I wanted." He doesn't want to be involved in this. Someone else is holding the reins. My first guess would be the Lord, but regardless, they are not equals in this endeavor.
If he wants out, then maybe he would have agreed to help if we just told him we were here to save Morgana.
Carelessly revealing our hand at this stage did not seem wise. It would have never gotten to this point if it were so easy to stop.
So I guess our first task is to earn Mel's trust.
Morgana's death is in 3 days. We have until then to get all 3 keys.
It won't be easy. I mean, we weren't even present in this world until today.
Exactly. We have no one to vouch for us. No one even knows who we are. But we have knowledge. Quite a bit of it, in fact. We not only know what happens in this era, but you showed me their next lives as well. From that, we can deduce how they might behave and to whom they have ties.
You're right, we do. We know things we should have no way of knowing. And we can use that knowledge to our advantage. Their various and interpersonal relationships are where we can get our edge, I think. They each have their reasons for locking Morgana up, and if I'm right, they're doing it for other people. It's these powerful bonds driving them. Mel's driving force would be his sister, for instance.
Are they mere bonds, or is it fate that ties them together? You're right. We should find and talk to his sister. Mel is more likely to act if it's coming from her than us.
I agree. If his darling sister tells him to stop, he won't have any reason to continue his involvement.
Knowing how the first tale ended makes me slightly uncertain. But for now, we can work under the assumption that he does genuinely care for her.
What do you want to bet she's somewhere nearby? I mean,
she will be. It was her death that sparked the chaos on the day of the Harvest Festival.
Ah, right, it was. No, you're exactly right. But what I was going to say is that people tend to keep those they care most about close by.
It would appear I have a bad tendency to focus too much on the facts. That was entirely unnecessary of me. Giselle did not need to be reminded of that. I'm sorry.
Huh? What for?
For being careless with my words. Inconsiderate.
No need to apologize for the truth. Besides, you and Considerate are like oil and water.
In the day, you're the fire to my oil.
We have 3 days to stop this tragedy. Let's get to work.
Let's. We'll probably have more luck asking than just searching for her. If we can't find Mel, the nun might know.
Off we go! Let's go! Nelly time, baby!
As I step into the chapel, I see an old man waving to the nun as he heads for the door. The man is practically beaming, and judging by the vial in his hand, he's happy about more than simply having the chance to see her. Is that saint's blood? According to Morgana's account, the disease began spreading through the city at the Harvest Festival, eventually eradicating the population. In a time like this, where medical knowledge is so limited, a plague would be almost unstoppable.
Well, Michelle, I have to tell you.
And the sight of so many people dying so quickly could appear to them the work of a demon or curse.
We come from the future, so we know just how dangerous this is. But they have no idea.
Morgana described it as a tale that only could have taken place in that era of miracles and spirituality, and about that she couldn't be more right.
Could we maybe warn everyone against taking the medicine? I assume the sickness was caused by them ingesting blood at any rate. It's not medicine they're being given.
But bottled disease, like some sick joke. If we could convince them to stop taking saint's blood, then maybe that would prevent the city from being destroyed. But the fact that it's being distributed in the house of the Lord and peddled as a miracle cure plays right into their deep-rooted spirituality. Would it even be possible to convince them otherwise? And besides, it's not them we came here to save, but... No, that's veering too far off our intended path. We need to find the truth and save Morgana's soul. Putting ourselves out like that is only going to get us unwanted attention, make people suspicious. And we don't have that kind of time.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry. It's just, knowing what they're doing to themselves, I couldn't help but think maybe there was something we could do. Especially considering how it all turns out.
I understand the sentiment. Or rather, I understand your reasoning. Well,
mix and match.
But for me, Morgana takes priority over any of them.
Same.
And you over everything. Releasing Morgana's soul should save yours as well, Giselle. If we can eliminate the mansion's darkness, then you won't have to be trapped in it as it's made. I have no interest in being the hero of the masses. Let's go ask about Mel's sister then.
Okay.
I turn my gaze back toward the nun, to find her kneeling in one of the pews. She bows her head and begins to whisper a prayer. There's no one else in the chapel. Now is the perfect time to ask. Hearing me approach, she falls silent and turns to face me, wearing her usual disarming smile.
Hello, Michelle. Mel was just here. He told me everything. Can't turn away a friend of Mel's now, can we? Sorry for turning you down earlier.
No worries. I did a poor job of explaining myself.
So, did you need something? Let me guess. Medicine?
No, I'm in perfectly good health.
I figured you were lying.
I can ask her about the Saint's Blood some other time. And while I have a number of questions about the man she's close with too, right now, Mel's sister is priority. Are you familiar with Mel's younger sister? She has flaxen hair much like him.
Oh, you mean Nellie? Are you her friend too?
I would say we're more
You're better off just saying you're friends.
friends, yes.
What about her?
I would like to speak with her. I was wondering if you might know where I could find her.
Nellie should be down at the cottage, I believe.
The cottage?
Yep, that's where I stay too. I don't sleep in the mansion itself.
So you don't live here, but only work here?
Right. For one, there are men who live here. The Lord likes to show up on occasion too, and we can't have a nun wandering around while he's here.
So you and Nellie live together then?
Yep, we have for about 6 months or so, ever since she and Mel showed up. I wanted to let her stay with her brother, but since this is technically church property, we have to keep the boys and girls separate.
I see.
I'm so glad to hear Nellie's got a friend though.
What?
She's not from around here, so she doesn't have many acquaintances. And with how sick she can get, she doesn't spend much time outside. Which is a shame because she's such a sweet little girl. I'm her friend, of course, but I've got responsibilities. I can only be around so often. So I'm sure she'd be delighted to have someone else to talk to.
It would be my pleasure. Could you tell me the way to the cottage then?
Oh, sure. It's not that far from here. You go down?
Oh, I'm begging my allergies to cease and desist. The directions I got from the nun led me to a place I know from my own time. It's the same building where the man who had been ordered to keep me under surveillance stayed. Sunlight seeps relentlessly through the trees, and I find myself having to look down at my feet as I follow the path. It's blindingly bright, painful.
How are you holding up, Michelle?
I'll be alright. The sun's past its peak. In a few hours, it won't be nearly as bad.
Don't push yourself, okay?
Okay. The trek is a reminder of just how inconvenient my body always was. And having this chance to experience being alive again comes with both the good parts and the bad. But now is hardly the time to complain about my sensitivity to the sun. It's not long before we reach a clearing, a small cottage surrounded by a small garden coming into view. And crouching by a flower bed, picking flowers, is the flaxen-haired girl. Are you Nellie? Though several details of her appearance don't match my memory of her, she still has that distinct hair. It could be nobody else. This Nellie is considerably thinner and looks rather frail. Look at her little outfit. Look at her little outfit with the little rose. She's very skinny. The effects of her being ill, I presume.
Who are you?
My name is Michelle. I have a few questions to ask you. Can we talk for a bit? I would have thought she had said something by now.
You're being way too blunt, Michelle.
You've gone and scared her. What else was I supposed to say?
You have to approach slowly, carefully. Go on, give her a smile. A nice, soft smile.
Smile. I'm only here to talk. Oh, Michelle. Oh, Michelle. Oh, Grace. Oh, Grace. There's nothing to be afraid of.
Okay, that is definitely not a nice smile. I can't even see it and I can still tell.
What did you expect? I can't just smile on demand.
It's a bad man! A bad man has come to kidnap me! Save me, dearest Mel, before this bad man does bad things to me!
Calm down, please. I'm not going to do anything to you.
Don't get in closer! I knew you tried to do bad things to me.
I'm not going to do bad things to you. I couldn't even if I wanted to.
Don't move or I'll call the gods on you.
Please, calm down. I mean you no harm, honestly.
That's what all bad men say.
No, Giselle, don't just watch. This would be a fantastic time for a little advice.
Got it. Maybe she'll calm down if you mention Mel.
You're a genius. I'm a friend of Mel's. He was telling me about you, and how you wanted someone to talk to. He asked me to go keep you company.
Mel asked you to come talk to me?
He did. Do you trust me now?
So that makes you his friend then?
As much as it pains me to admit it.
Michelle? What on earth possessed you to say that?
Slip of the tongue.
You and him? Is that so?
Yes?
You're pretty old to be friends with my Mel. Are you really, really, really his friend?
Really?
Then prove it.
How so?
If you're really his friend, then you should be able to tell me all about him.
Why in God's name would you ever subject me to that?
Do you not like Mel, Michelle?
That's not it. We're just incompatible. Fucking mood.
Okay, here we go. First question. What does my Mel like most of all?
I don't know, everybody. What does Mel like most of all? Is it naps, Nelly, or theater? Well, of course it's gonna be fucking Nelly. Duh.
You think so too? You think I'm his favorite thing in the whole wide world? I like to believe that's what he thinks. I think it'd be wonderful if I could always be his number one.
Your excessive love for her brother is still out in full force, I see.
Second question. What kind of person is my Mel?
I don't know, everybody. What kind of person is her Mel? Tell me your answers. He's a nice guy, he's a sycophant, or he's a spineless chump? Well, even though we know it's the third one.
That's right. He's a very nice guy. He can have his head in the clouds sometimes, but other than that, he's perfect. You know your stuff.
To be honest, I was just saying what you wanted to hear. Me and my big mouth.
Okay, final question. Describe what he looks like for me.
I don't know, everybody. What does Mo look like? Tell me your answer. I try not to scrutinize other men. Almost made me spit out my water. I forget about that one. He's decently handsome. He is. He's kind of cute.
Isn't he? He's like a modern day Adonis.
That might be a bit of a stretch.
Mel could be a prince in a fairy tale. He's got the most perfect face.
May I ask you something? You do realize he's still growing, right? And that can change a man in unimaginable ways. He could end up 2 heads taller, shoulders twice as broad, and covered in muscle before you realize what's happened. And body hair. Lots of that. Facial hair as thick as these woods. Would you still consider Mel your prince if that happened to him? Then he would look like Bruno.
Mel, with a beard and muscles. I won't have it. That's not my Mel at all.
You're heading into dangerous waters, Mel.
My Mel will never, ever grow a beard. I'll pray every day to make sure of it. And he won't get all big and muscly either. There's nothing princely about any of that.
I wouldn't mind some muscles myself. Out of curiosity, did you ever want to be buff like that, Michelle? Well, yes, of course. Every man wants to be strong and well-built.
I don't think the beefy look would work on you. Well, that's the last of my questions. You're not a complete stranger, it seems. Sure, why not? You can be my Mel's friend.
Why, thank you.
This is great. I was sure you were a bad man.
Why is it that the first impression of everyone has of me is that I'm never someone decent?
Any friend of Mel's must be a good person. No, an amazing person.
That's quite the faith you have in him.
Why wouldn't I? He's my big brother.
That's some circular logic.
Is it just you? Is Mel not coming?
He's rather busy at the moment.
Oh, he always has something to take care of, that Mel. He's hardly even given me any attention these past couple months. But that's okay, because today I've got you to keep me company.
Yes, you do. I can't stay long, though.
Alright, just stay until sundown then. You had something you wanted to ask me, didn't you? Well, if you're a good enough friend, I'll tell you anything you want to know.
And how do I go about that?
Talking. Lots and lots of talking. You have to keep me entertained.
You're asking far too much of me. She's not asking much at all. She just wants to talk. Do you think someone who spent 13 years in isolation knows the first thing about holding a pleasant conversation? Hey now, I was there for a year of that. I'll help you come up with some topics, so go on.
Do you not want to talk to me?
No, I do. I'm just not much of a conversationalist.
Okay, then instead of talking, you can sing. I've never seen a minstrel before, but I've always wanted to know what kind of songs they sing. Will you show me?
I've never seen one myself either. But I have heard secondhand accounts of the song's traveling jongleurs. Very well then. I'll teach you a song an old acquaintance of mine heard while traveling.
I can't wait!
Here goes. The silence is deafening.
I'm shocked. I don't think I've ever heard someone sing so badly.
Me neither. I'm flabbergasted. Let's hear you try then.
That's enough singing for today. I don't want my ears to fall off.
What a vicious little girl.
I know, let's bake something.
Bake something?
Yep, come on inside. I made some nice jam earlier today, and I want to make it into a pretty little pie. You get to help me with that.
I'm not much of a...
Come on, get a move on. You either help or you don't get to be my friend.
As you wish. This is not going to end well. Mel in a modern universe would absolutely eat Easy Mac every day in college. And until he got married.
Unbelievable! Absolutely unbelievable! How on earth do you manage to turn a pie into this monstrosity?
I gave it my best shot.
There's only one explanation. You're possessed!
It's true, he is! But I'm a perfectly good chef! Michelle's just naturally terrible at it! God, can this go any worse?
I can't give this to Mel. Jack, dimwit, loser.
I'm sorry.
Well, I guess we've got no choice but to eat it ourselves. I'll set the table.
What?
And I'll make us some tea while I'm at it. You know, I've always dreamed of this. Sitting around a table with a friend, having snacks and just talking.
Oh?
Yep, and for that I can deal with a little awful disgusting pie. It's just too bad I couldn't share with my Mel too.
I see. For all her complaining, she seems to be enjoying herself. I can only imagine how lonely she is out here. While she may act all bright and cheerful, beneath it is a real sense of isolation. And the same can be said about the girl behind the first door. As vivacious and pushy as she could be, you could see hints of loneliness behind it all. Her brother was practically all she had while she lived in the mansion. But if I were to guess, that's not the life she really wanted. I bet she would have preferred to be able to go out and play with friends. Being born into a noble family does take away a lot of your freedom. Even in such drastically different time periods, she's still the same girl inside. Actually, maybe the parallels extend beyond her as a person and into the courses of her two different lives. Perhaps that means all those who are reconstructed at Morgana's wish are destined to lead similar lives. Though destined might be putting it too nicely. Nellie. I would be glad to lend you my ear, if you would like. You can talk about the weather or your brother. Anything you want.
You will? Great! Take a seat! I've got lots I want to talk about. More than you can possibly imagine. And you'll never guess what Mel said next. That I mean more to him than anyone in the world. So I'm growing flowers out in the garden, right? Well, when I've got enough of them, I'm going to make a big bouquet and give it to Mel. Back at home, we've got this really, really big yard with this huge tree we used to take naps under when it was nice out. So what do you think about the tea I made? The flower petals are really what ties it all together. Oh, and you won't believe what happened after that. Have another cup of tea? I'll make as much as you can drink.
No, thank you. I'm fine. I feel like all I did was nod and listen. And the bulk of it was about Mel, no less.
Haven't talked that much in ages. Time sure flew by, huh? The sun's starting to set.
Do you and the nun not speak much?
We do, but it's kind of, I don't know, not really the same with her. It just feels, I guess, like she's too important for me to waste her time, being the lady in charge of the church, pretty much the whole estate.
And what about Mel? Does he not visit you very often?
No, he does. He comes to see me a lot.
Then why?
He hasn't been himself lately. My old Mel would always happily listen to whatever I had to say, but now he seems kind of distracted. It sounds like he's really busy. When he visits, he doesn't stay for long, and he has to go back to the mansion at night. I try to get him to stay longer, but it never works. And he always avoids the question when I ask him why he can't. It feels like he's hiding something.
Knowing what he's hiding, I can understand why he wouldn't want to talk about it. He could never tell his precious little sister that he and 2 other men have a girl locked up in a tower, and that he's stealing her blood for her sake.
I wish things could have stayed the way they were before.
The way they were before?
When it was just the 2 of us living together. I know we're more stable here, and I can get the medicine I need from the church. But I'd rather stay being sick than so alone.
You said you came here around 6 months ago?
Yep, it was just the 2 of us before that. Well, before that, at our old house, we had a bunch of servants. But I never really liked it there either. With that many people around, I just felt more alone. I liked it so much better when it was just me and Mel.
Is that really what you want? To be sick and in constant pain?
It's better than being alone. Mel just doesn't get it. He doesn't understand that the loneliness is so much worse. Or maybe that's just a guy thing. They don't get what it's like to be ignored. What it feels like to be left in the dark, not knowing anything.
We don't understand, no. We think saving their lives matters above all.
Huh?
Even if there's a cost to saving that life, we're incapable of gauging how great it is. We're unable to see how egotistical, how self-serving our actions are.
Are you talking about yourself?
The same could be said of Mel as well, I imagine.
Mel's still around, though. He's there, but it's like he's trying to avoid me. All I want is for him to be here, to be with me. That's all I really want. He doesn't even have to be a perfect fairy tale prince.
Have you ever told him that?
What?
Have you ever told him that he doesn't have to be the perfect brother? That you'd be happy with just having him there? Have you ever put those feelings into words?
I'm always telling him I want him around.
And that he doesn't have to be your prince to do so?
He's already said that he will be my prince. And he always smiles whenever I talk about it. So how am I supposed to turn around and say he doesn't have to be my prince anymore?
I know it's not your intention to force an ideal image onto him, but unconsciously, subconsciously, that's what you're doing when you talk like that. And Mel, he's trying to meet those expectations. Actually, he may not be conscious of it himself, and he just believes deep down that that's the kind of person he's supposed to be. Or more accurately, he seems to have a need to make himself look good to others. He believes that if he's good to others, they'll be good to him in return.
Am I a burden?
I can assure you, he's better off with you around.
But I am a burden to him right now, aren't I? Be honest with me.
Nellie's more mature than people give her credit for. Like, she's really playful and cute, like cutesy, but this is a hard question to ask. Even at 14. Even at 24. Yes, you are.
Does Mel not like me anymore? Is that why he's been avoiding me?
I promise you, that's not the case. At the very least, he's doing what he's doing now because of how much he cares about you.
You promise?
I promise.
I love him. I love my Mel so very much. Too much, in fact. To be honest, I know I do. I understand that, really. I know I'm making his life difficult. But Mel's all I have. He's the only person I can latch on to. And I can't control my feelings.
It can be difficult to tame your emotions at your age. There's nothing wrong with that. However, you should have taken stock of those emotions, sorted through everything you've got on your mind, and then sat down with him to talk it out. Even if those things you feel seem wrong or unspeakable. You should have opened up to him, taken the time to figure out what works best for both of you. You too needed to face the things you carried in your heart, the things your brother carried in his. By not doing so, you end up never quite on the same page. Small misunderstandings piling up until it all comes crashing down. If they had just talked it out, communicated their feelings to one another, maybe their tragedy could have been avoided, even with Morgana's curse in play. If Nellie had only had a chance to come to grips with her feelings for Mel, then maybe things wouldn't have escalated the way they did. Her actions that night were arguably hysteric, but she wasn't always like that. I'm sorry. That was out of line. None of this is any of my business, I know.
No need to apologize. You're a very curious man, you know that?
Huh?
We only met a couple of hours ago, but you talk like you've known me my whole life. It's like you can hear everything I'm thinking, see everything in my heart. Did Mel tell you all of that?
No, he did not tell me much.
I didn't think so. He doesn't know me that well. It's not too late, is it? If I talk to him, really tell him how I feel, do you think Mel will listen?
I know he will.
It won't make things worse? It won't make him uncomfortable?
There is a chance that rifts may form at first. But those cracks can be filled again. And I promise you, the result will be something much better than if you had held it in. It will all work out.
Okay. Next time I see Mel, I'll tell him. I'll tell him he doesn't have to try to be my prince.
Good.
You really are a curious man. You're the first person to ever talk to me like I'm a real person. Everyone loves to say how sweet and adorable I am, but that's it. I was only ever the make-believe princess.
You are a real person, I assure you.
Thanks. You know, after talking to you, I'm feeling a whole lot better. Like I can do anything. I'm glad you came by today.
And I'm glad I could meet you in person.
It's weird. It really feels like we've known each other our entire lives.
I've known of you for some time. Or perhaps I should say, what you will become.
Huh?
Oh, no, ignore me.
Were you? Was that supposed to be a pickup line? Bad up, Michelle. I'm still too young for that.
No, I wasn't.
And now you're getting flustered.
I swear that's not what that was.
I know. Jeez, do you really think I trust you that little?
I don't know after that singing. Sorry.
Oh, I just had the most wonderful idea.
Oh?
Yep. Instead of being my friend, I'll let you be something even better. You're my second brother.
Second brother?
A brother is much more special to me than a friend. Though obviously you can't be my number one.
I'm blinking.
She's taken a liking to you. This is good for us.
I'm not sure how I feel about her putting so much trust in me so quickly, though.
The amount of time it takes isn't important. What matters is that you listened to her, you understand her, and you treated her like a real person. In her eyes, you're someone she can depend on. Do you not want me as your sister?
Actually, I was the youngest child, so having a younger sibling would be,
Would be what? Come on, spit it out.
it would be rather nice.
You bet it would. Who wouldn't want an adorable little sister like me?
That's a bit narcissistic, wouldn't you say? Whoop! Somebody's stuff fell down in the other apartment.
Well, it's true, isn't it? Go on, tell me I'm adorable, dearest Michelle. What? Well, don't just stare at me. If my Mel were here, he wouldn't bat an eye.
Please don't compare me to him. You know, now might be a good time to tell her about Morgana. Part of me feels like I would be taking advantage of her newly earned trust, but it'll certainly be easier to bring up now, while she holds me in such high regard. She's much more likely to believe me.
You're right. I agree, now's probably the best chance we'll get. Especially considering how little time we have.
I can't shake the feeling I'm rushing things, but at this point all I can do is go with it and pray it works out.
If we had the time, I think we'd all like to hold off. Nellie looks like she's having so much fun. And even you seem to be enjoying yourself.
No, I'm just...
It's nothing to be ashamed of. I'm having fun watching you myself. Let's do it. Let's tell her about Morgana. We have to do it at some point anyway.
Yes, let's. Nellie, do you mind if I ask you a question?
What is it, dearest Michelle?
I love that she calls us dearest now. I believe that makes us Oni-sama.
Ask me anything you want.
Have you heard of something called Saint's Blood?
You mean the medicine?
Yes, except it's not actually.
I know, yeah. It's actually the Saintess's blood, not medicine. But no telling.
You... what?
One day before we moved here, when it was just me and Mel, the Saintess came to visit. My mind had been all foggy for a long time, like I was not quite asleep, but not quite awake either. But when I heard her soft, pleasant voice, the fog cleared a bit. And then she performed a miracle for me. Blood is awful and gross and terrible, but the Saintess's, hers is different. Hers is pure.
So you're saying you know everything, Nellie? About the observation tower and...
Huh? The tower? What about it?
That's where they keep her.
What? No, the Saintess is always in the chapel. And she stays here with me. She comes back at nights. In fact, she should be here any minute now.
So, she thinks the Saintess is the nun and not Morgana. No, Nellie. That blood comes from...
I'm really, really grateful to her. She didn't just perform the one miracle. She's been taking care of me while I'm here too. So whenever I see her, I always say thank you. I thank her for sharing her blood with me. And she always says it's nothing with a big smile.
Nellie, no. The nun has no idea. She just assumes Nellie's thanking her for giving her the medicine.
You're the saintess in my life.
No, Nellie. She's not the one you should be grateful to.
Huh?
The girl you owe your life to has been locked up, suffering and alone even as we speak.
But the saintess is at the church.
The girl who came to visit you is not the nun everyone calls the saintess. Her name is Morgana.
What are you talking about, Michelle? The saintess is locked up? Stop that! I have no idea what you're talking about.
Everything I'm telling you is the truth. Please believe me. While you were lying in bed, sick and barely conscious, did you get a good look at the saintess who gave you her blood? You didn't, did you? You couldn't make out any details because your mind was a haze. And then when you arrived at this estate, you met a woman who people called the saintess, giving out medication known as saint's blood. So you assumed she was the one who had cured you. That's the story you chose to believe.
If what you're saying is true, then where is the other saintess? The one who came to see me?
At the top of the mansion's observation tower. The door to the tower is locked. She's imprisoned there.
And how do you know this?
Because it wouldn't be wise to tell her I'm from the future just yet. That would only serve to confuse her further. All I need to convince her of right now is that Morgana is being held in the tower. There's an idea. Perhaps I can borrow from the story the white-haired girl told Mel. I received a letter.
A letter?
There's a single window, far out of reach, in the chamber at the top of the tower. A dove flew in through the window, and so she wrote a letter, tying it to the bird's leg and releasing it in the hopes someone would come to set her free. That letter ended up in my hands.
If that's the case, then who locked her up? Was it the saintess? The one I know?
No, I don't believe the nun is aware. I think she's simply doing her job in good faith.
Then who?
Michelle. I know very well that what I'm about to say will likely crush her, but I can't let that stop me.
Who would do such a terrible thing?
Nellie, I want you to brace yourself for what I'm about to say. There are 3 men participating in Morgana's imprisonment. And one of those 3 is your brother, Mel. I understand that that's the last thing you wanted to hear. But please believe me, I would not say something so upsetting lightly. I wish to save Morgana, the true saint. And I would like your assistance. Without your help, I can't get her out of that tower. I need you to get through to Mel. Otherwise, both he and Morgana will remain entrapped.
That's not true.
Nellie.
You're lying. You have to be. My Mel would never do something so horrible. You're a terrible liar.
It's true. I swear to you.
You think I'm going to believe that? My Mel's an amazing, wonderful person. He's not cruel and evil. He's good and kind, like a prince. And a prince would never lock someone up.
I know you're not blind, Nellie. You can see that all your prince talk has been putting pressure on him.
So? You think that's going to change my mind? He has no reason to do any of that.
But he does, Nellie. He's certainly not happy about it, no, but he's doing it for you.
What do you mean?
He needs her blood to keep you healthy. So, to ensure he always had a supply.
But no,
And despite that, Saint's blood probably doesn't even have healing properties. No one benefits from doing this. Not you, not Mel, and certainly not Morgana. And I don't think anyone can stop him except you.
Mel won't listen to me.
Did you not just say we would talk things through with him?
Just shut up! Stop talking already! I'm done listening to you.
Nellie.
I'll never believe you. You're not my brother anymore. You're just a horrible, horrible man. Who do you think you are to march in here and try to make my Mel into the bad guy? And after I made you my second brother. What's wrong with you? I trusted you. I ate nasty pie and had tea with you. But you're just a mean, evil man here to turn me against my Mel.
I know you don't want to believe me, but I'm telling you the truth, every word. I beg you to open your eyes. Ask him yourself. If you don't believe me, then ask Mel about Morgana. I guarantee you, he'll panic.
Enough already! Get out of here! Get out this instant!
Nellie.
Don't say my name, just go away! Get out of here! Now! I don't want to see you ever again! I sort of chased you off the moment I saw you. Get out! Now!
I pray you can find it in yourself to open your eyes and face the truth.
Get out!
One last thing before I go, Nellie. Poor Nellie. Every time I play this game, I feel worse and worse for her. She was not, like, sinless in this whole thing, but she sure as hell didn't, like, deserve all this. Just because her brother doesn't know how to communicate. It was my only option, I know that. But I feel like all I accomplished by telling her was bringing her more pain. It's a difficult balance. We just have to pray that you were able to get through to her. I'm sure she'll come around. If only we had a little more time. In 3 days it will all be over. Morgana and the entire web of people connected to her will die. That's not enough time. Let's return to the mansion and look for Mel. I would like to speak with him. If there's a chance we can get even the smallest bit of Nellie's feelings through to him, maybe he'll have a change of heart.
Hopefully.
It's hardly going to be elegant, but it's what must be done. Ah, did you just get back? The scientist was telling me you went to see Nellie. What do you think? Sweet girl, isn't she? That she is. Though she can be a bit of a handful at times. I'm glad you could keep her company for a bit. Now, just to be sure, you kept a lid on all your crazy talk, right? No. She treated me to some tea, nothing more. Ah, the stuff with the flower petals in it, yeah? She thinks it's some kind of charm to make it taste better. Girls seem to have a thing for stuff like that. Mel. Could you spare a bit of time for me? We need to talk. Oh, sure. Can it wait a bit, though? I have to run a little errand after supper. When I'm done with that, I'll meet you in your room. All right. You think the errand is bringing Morgana her meal, presumably. We might be able to catch the three of them opening the door if we trail Mel. It's too big a risk. Mel's already wary enough as it is. We don't know how the other two might react either. It's best to play it safe. No one's going to come to our defense if we're caught. Not at this point in time. So we'd be better off in our waiting room. Waiting in our room, whatever.
Agreed.
It's been a long day. Though winter has receded and spring is well upon the land, there's still a sharp chill to the night air. Even with the window shut, the wind still manages to slip through the cracks, making the candle flame waver. Neither Giselle nor I say much of anything. But nevertheless, when she does speak, the sound of her voice, soft and pleasant, relaxes my nerves. The faint sound of her breathing reminds me I'm not alone, that she's there, always watching over me. When the candle is about half gone, the door swings open. Sorry it took so long. What did you want to talk about? You didn't bring anyone with you? No, I didn't.
Who did you think I would bring?
No one. I was just checking. Now, I'll get straight to the point. You're afflicted with a great deal of remorse, are you not, Mel?
Pardon?
I know what you're doing, what you're involved in. I know the girl at the top of the observation tower very well. Her name is Morgana, and you have her imprisoned in the tower. The door requires 3 keys to open, of which you possess 1. You need her for miracle blood.
How?
I came here to stop you.
How? How do you know any of that? It's not possible she could have told anyone. Did one of them tell you?
No, it wasn't them. I was told all of this by Morgana herself.
How could she?
What I'm about to tell you is going to seem impossible, but every word of it is the truth. I am not from this time. Many, many years after her death, Morgana's soul told me what happened to her.
What are you even talking about? She's still alive. You're not from this time. What? Are you mad?
Can you come up with any other explanation for how I would know everything I know? There's a single window at the top in the room at the top of the tower. A small, insignificant thing that sits high upon the wall. And entirely useless for communicating with the outside world. In 3 days' time, during the Harvest Festival, Morgana will die. And I must prevent that from happening.
Prevent it?
To do that, I need your key. Will you give it to me?
There you go, talking nonsense again. You know, I warned you not to kick up any dust, for your own sake. But I guess that didn't get through, huh? I don't care who you are or where you came from. All that matters is that you intend to stand in our way. What, did you think I was just a helpless little boy? That you could take my key without any trouble? Well, you'd be right about that. If it was only me, stealing my key and setting her free wouldn't be a trivial matter. But it's not only me. And the other two, they won't hesitate to kill you. Your life, anyone's life, means nothing to them. You don't know what they're like. How terrifying they can be. They're killers. I'll tell them everything you told me. I'll tell them you know our secret. And don't come crying to me when they come for you. I warned you.
Is that what you want? Will you find the comfort you seek by being their devoted little slave and keeping Morgana imprisoned in that tower? What else can I? If you feel at all ashamed about your part in this, if you want to do something to correct it, then you need to take that step. You can't fix this problem on your own, no. but I am here to help. I'm not ashamed about anything. Don't lie to yourself. Don't act like you know how I feel. What the hell is your deal anyway? You show up out of nowhere spouting all this "I'll save you" and "I'm here to help" rubbish. You need to do this for your sister. See, now that's ridiculous. If I wash my hands of this, I won't have access to the witch's blood anymore. And without that, Nellie can't get better. She'll die without that blood. Her blood has no miraculous healing powers. You only believe it does, making it appear to work. You're mad. Morgana's blood is not curing Nellie. In fact, it may very well be killing her. If you keep giving her that blood, Nellie will also lose her life during the Harvest Festival. What? You're standing on the precipice of a horrific tragedy, and you're going to take everyone down with you if you don't turn back now. What are you? All three of you are going to lose everything on the day of the festival. And there's only one way to prevent that. You have to set Morgana free. You're insane if you think I would believe that. Nellie's going to die. Could you have told a more mean-spirited lie? You're the one who's trying to kill her. I'm just trying to save her. And you're going about it the entirely wrong way. Do you have any idea how lonely your sister is right now? You should be at her side. That's what you should be doing instead of stealing a poor girl's blood. I've had enough. What do you know? If I lose Nellie, I'll have no one. My whole world will collapse. This was the only way I could keep that from happening. This was my best option, my only option. So no, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep Morgana locked up, and I'm going to keep stealing her blood. And I'll hand you over to the other two. I'll have them kill you. You'll regret ever showing your face.
Nell, is that really true?
What?
Do you really have the Saintess locked up?
Why? What are you doing here, Nellie?
That man told me I had to talk to you. And he said if I didn't have the courage to do it myself, to wait outside his room tonight, because he was going to get the truth from you.
You conniving son of a... You were planning this all along. Yeah? What about it? Why would you tell Nellie? Why would you bring her, of all people, into this?
Mel. Tell me, Mel. Is it true?
Nellie,
Are you really keeping the Saintess prisoner and stealing her blood? And you said you would have him killed. I never thought you were such a terrible person, Mel. I can't believe you would do such despicable things. No, you're not my brother anymore.
Nellie! Michelle, go after her! Yeah, fucking let's go, man. Why is this even a choice? No, we are going after fucking Nellie. Go. We have to stop her. Bring her back. Nellie!
Don't follow me, just go away! Leave me alone!
Stop. If you run away from him now, Mel will never come back from this.
Then why did you tell me? Why did you tell me what he was doing? If you hadn't said anything, everyone would still be fine. We wouldn't be in this horrible mess. If you hadn't said anything, I could have kept on believing in him.
No, things wouldn't be fine. Why can't you see that? You shouldn't put your faith in your ideal brother, but your real one, the boy in that room stricken with regret. I hadn't said anything, the facade would have ruined you both sooner or later. No, in truth, your relationship was already broken. You were simply ignoring the spreading cracks. I know, on some level, you had realized that Mel was keeping something incredibly important from you, and that secret was tearing you apart.
There's nothing good about this, though. Now we'll never go back to the way we were. We could never go back to what it was like when we were kids. Just the two of us, playing together every day, having fun.
Everyone's childhood comes to an end. The flow of time is impartial. You cannot fight it. What you can do, what only you can do, is choose how you change.
But...
I will admit, I am the one who opened your rooms, and now I'm putting the responsibility of tending to them on you. It's cruel, I know. But if you don't come to terms with Mel and make him withdraw his participation, even greater suffering awaits you far in the future. It's not over yet, and you cannot let this be where it ends. The bonds you formed over the years are not yet broken, and you can do what I was never able to. You can still repair your relationship.
But I'm scared. Scared that my brother, that my Mel could do such terrible things. That he could say... he would kill you. He used to be such a good brother. He was always so kind, so friendly to everyone. But it was all a lie. It was all a big act to fool me.
No, it was not all an act. There was truth to it. He is a kind-hearted boy, an ordinary young man, whose kindness was twisted by circumstance. And it doesn't matter how good a person someone is. Everyone has the potential to do terrible things when backed into a corner.
You think you know everything?
I know that much. Nellie, if you want your brother back, you have to act now. Please, you must take action.
But I'm scared. What am I supposed to say to him? I don't know.
I'll be there with you. You don't have to face this alone. There's more to this story than we've heard. We don't know how he got himself involved in this, and I mean to get the rest of it out of him. And you need to be there to hear it.
When I hear what he has to say, I try to say something I shouldn't. If I try to say something that will ruin everything, you'll stop me? You're the one who told me to open my eyes and face him. You're the one who made this whole mess. What am I supposed to do if all this destroys everything I have? You said you'd be my brother, right? So be a good brother and help me out here. Promise me you'll make sure nothing goes bad. You'll do that, won't you?
Michelle, just say yes. We won't let this go bad. Have faith in yourself. Faith that you put their relationship on track to recovering. Promise her. Give her the courage she wants from you. You have nothing to fear. I'll be there for you. I'll help you both.
Okay, I'll do it. I'll go back.
Good job, Nellie. Thank you, Giselle.
Oh, don't mention it. Now let's go see what he has to say for himself. Let's draw back that curtain.
Yes, let's. Nellie.
Well,
What did you come back for? To ridicule me? I'm not the brother you thought I was, huh? Not at all what you wanted me to be. It's all over. Everything Michel said is true. There's a girl imprisoned in the tower. A completely innocent girl. The girl who saved your life, in fact. Go on, tell me how cruel and terrible and evil I am. I'm no prince. Here's an idea. Why don't you make him your new prince? You can do it, Nellie. Ask him.
You have your reasons, don't you? You have some reason for being a part of this, right?
A reason? Oh, yeah, I have a reason, all right. I wanted to save your life. I needed her blood to cure you, so I had her locked up.
Tell me the truth. I don't remember much about when the Saintess came to visit, but I do remember a little. I remember her saying she would gladly give whatever she could to the sick and needy. Which means you had no need to lock her up.
It would seem the tale Morgana showed me was true. She really was a saint. Yes, she was.
Tell me the truth, Nell. Tell me everything.
There's nothing to tell.
There is, I know it. There's more to a story than just the facts. The things you thought, the things you felt, are all pieces that combine to make the whole story. Isn't that right, Michel?
You're exactly right. If you hadn't said anything, we could have gone on with our lives as normal.
No, Mel, we couldn't have. I thought so too at first, but it's not true. Our normal lives ended long ago. Tell me the truth, Mel. No matter what it is, I can handle it.
No, Nellie, you can't. A girl like you, who dreams of becoming a princess, couldn't possibly bear to see how hideous her brother has become.
How can I know if you don't say anything, though? That's how it always has been with us. You were nice to me, and that was all I needed. I never looked beyond the surface. I made you into my ideal brother, and I latched onto that image of you. You're a kind person, Mel. You really are. So kind you played along with my fantasy that you were a prince. But you don't have to act for me anymore. I want to know the real you. I'm all done being a princess. I'm just your little sister now, nothing more. Your one and only little sister now.
You need to do this, Mel. You need to tell your story. Until you do, we have no way of understanding what you've been through, what you're going through. No way. If I tell you, you'll lose any hope you had left in me. As Nellie has, you need to release yourself from your own idealized fantasy, Mel. You have someone right here who will accept you for who you are. I know good and well just how hard it can be to have someone dear to you see a side of you that you didn't want to show them. I think you wanted to get it off your chest, though. And I think you want forgiveness. Fantasies are not everlasting. They all crumble eventually. Show us the real Mel. Tell us your story, without embellishments or omissions.
Mel.
Oh, okay. I'll tell you. Not like I have any other options. Nellie, if at any point you can't bear to hear it anymore, so be it. You're free to leave whenever you like.
I won't go anywhere. I can almost guarantee you.
I pray that ends up being true. All right. Here goes. The whole story, from start to finish, of how I ended up in this mess. Pour out the tea for the tea, baby, if you know what I mean. Until around the time I turned 17, my life was mostly uneventful. On days when it was nice out, I would take walks around the house's grounds, sometimes napping beneath a tree. It was picturesque, and you were always there with me. You have the same flax-coloured hair as me, but yours always seemed to glisten in the sun, whereas mine is flat and dull. You shone like a tiny little dancing sun. At the time, I assumed that was how life would always be. I genuinely wanted it to be. Following my 17th birthday, though, I was met with a deluge of changes. First, father fell ill and passed away shortly thereafter. With his death came the question of who would be the next head. As the oldest son, normally it would fall on me to take his place. I was 17, by all means enough of an adult to handle things myself. Oh well, that's what I thought anyway. Nobody else did, though. After discussions I had no part in, it was decided that my uncle would be the next head. That they weren't confident I had the spine to do the job properly. I wasn't sure what to think. Part of me wanted to know why no one bothered talking to me, and part of me was relieved. Somewhere inside, I knew I didn't have what it took. So I was more than happy to let someone else take that responsibility. If it meant I could go on with my quiet life, I didn't care who they picked. My uncle, though, seemed to have caught on to my apathy, which he did not take kindly to. And in response, he formally disowned me. You're not the only one who still had some growing up to do, Nellie. I wasn't quite the adult I thought I was either. Fortunately, if you want to call it fortune, I was given enough money to live on for a decent length of time, as well as a place to stay. It was a small house, far from home, his way of making it hard for me to come back. Not that I had any intention of returning. But the best thing to come out of it all was you coming with me, Nellie.
So this is our new home, dearest Mel?
Yep, so it is. It's amazing how little there is. No big yard, no paintings, no vases filled with colourful flowers, no silver bowls full of fresh-picked fruit.
But there is you and me.
You're not going to go and say you want to return home in a couple months when you realise life isn't as luxurious here as it was back there, are you?
There's only one thing in the whole wide world I really need.
Oh?
Honestly, I can live without shiny shoes and pretty dresses like Mother wears. I don't need composers to come and write me songs for my birthday. As long as I have the one thing that matters most to me, I can do it without anything else.
Are you saying...
I'm as happy as I've ever been. I don't need all that fancy, expensive stuff. We may not have a huge yard, but the sun shines everywhere. Flowers can grow even without a gardener tending to them.
Nellie.
I'll do whatever I can for you, dearest Mel. Are you hungry? I'm hungry.
Oh, yeah, a bit.
All right, I'll make something then. Start off with some fruit jam, and then maybe make a pie out of it. What else sounds good? I'm craving cookies.
You've got quite the sweet tooth. You're going to make yourself sick like that.
That's the first smile I've seen since we got here.
What? That can't be right. I'm sure I've been smiling.
Nope, you've been frowny all day.
Whatever you say.
Forget about all that stuff at home. We've got each other. We can do this. Who cares that we're not rich anymore? We'll figure things out in no time. And then we'll have even more fun than we did back there.
Yeah, you're right.
It'll all work out, dearest Mel. I'll always be here for you. You've got yourself an adorable little princess. What more could you possibly need? Cheer up!
Thanks. I'm really glad you decided to come with me.
Did you think for a second I wouldn't? I'm your princess, dearest Nell. And princesses belong with their princes.
I suppose so. Until that day, I had never known how good it felt to have someone who wanted me in their life, who saw me for me. I realized for the first time how blessed I had always been. I was hardly prince material. I wasn't strong, handsome, or regal enough for that. But Nellie calling me her prince gave me the illusion of being worth something. It made me feel like I could keep being that richly blessed young man, even being this far away from home. While I had been given some money, my supply was far from infinite. I knew I would eventually have to find some kind of work, some way to support myself and Nellie. But to be quite honest, I couldn't gather the motivation to do much of anything. My whole life had changed so abruptly, so dramatically, that my mind just wasn't able to keep up. It had knocked me on my backside, and I didn't have the strength to get back up. I couldn't tell Nellie that, of course, so this is what I said instead. I'm staying home because I want to be with you as much as possible. And she happily took me at my word. Our new life together was quiet and unremarkable. Even so, it was still a constant stream of new experiences for the two of us, having been pampered our entire lives.
Welcome home, dearest Nell. What did you buy today?
I got a chicken.
Wow, I've never seen one so up close before. Are we going to keep it as a pet?
I was planning on using it for supper.
What? You're going to cook it?
That's the idea. You like chicken though, don't you? Steamed especially, if I remember right.
Yes, but it's all covered in feathers and flapping about. How are we supposed to cook it?
If I remember, the guy said you had to pluck its feathers, then cut off its head and drain all the blood.
Ew, no way! Absolutely not! Not in a million years! You do it, Mel.
What? I've never done this before.
Well, I'm not. See you do it.
All right. I'll bring it to the...
Not inside, do it outside.
Okay. I've never had to slaughter a chicken before. The chefs back home always take care of it. God, I hope I don't screw this up. Well, I'm not going to accomplish anything if I just sit here worrying. Just gotta give it my best shot. No, please don't put up a fight. I can't watch. On the count of 3, okay? The count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Wait! Come back! It's gone. I know, that's what I said. They should have raised it for eggs. At first, I was just fumbling about in the dark, constantly messing up everything I tried. But in time, I started getting more comfortable with things, and I stopped pining for my old life. For the longest time, I couldn't shake the memory of the fact that I had once been a noble. I was constantly wondering how I had ended up there, why this was happening to me. Nellie had seemed to have adjusted fairly quickly, but I wasn't faring so well. I was surprised, honestly. I figured if anyone was going to have an issue with our new lifestyle, it was going to be her, not me. Back home, Nellie had tended to be, well, a bit of a princess. She was frequently harsh with the Abigails, scolding them for the smallest of things. There were times I thought she might be biting her tongue for my sake, but every time it crossed my mind, she would say, "I've got you, dearest Mel. Everything's just fine." And it was those words that kept me going.
Oh, dearest Mel, I just had the most wonderful idea. Would you like to hear it?
Sure. What's your idea?
We should get married!
You can't be serious.
As serious gets. I mean, we're basically married already in everything but name.
Oh, we can't do that. We're siblings.
Nobody here needs to know that.
They can guess from our hair and eye color, though.
I don't think we look that much alike.
Anyway, whatever gave you that idea?
If we get married, then we can be together forever.
We can do that just as well as brother and sister.
It's not the same, though. No one ever says two siblings live happily ever after. I want to be with you for the rest of my life, dearest Mel. And the best way to do that is to get married.
But Nelly...
What are you so hesitant for? Is there someone you're paying for?
No, but...
Then there's no problem.
We're blood-related siblings. Does she realize that getting married means eventually having children and everything that leads up to that? I don't know, at this point in history, it was very common for this shit, especially from Britain. That goes against the teachings of the Lord. Now she's still just a kid chasing after a fairy tale ending. She doesn't understand the reality of what she's saying. Sometimes I'm not sure what to do with you, Nelly.
So you'll marry me?
But right now I know you need God's word. Starting tonight, you're getting your own private sermon every night. Understand? Same. My instruction was as much for my own sake as it was for Nelly's. I'm not going to lie. The thought did cross my mind that her proposition might not be so bad. For one, I couldn't imagine spending the rest of my life with anyone else, and it had been her smile that had kept me going when things got difficult. But I knew that it was a sin, and I didn't think I would be able to live with myself if I crossed that line. So night after night, I taught her, reminded her that we were brother and sister, and that we didn't have to be anything more for her to be the most important person in the world to me. And after about our 3rd month away from home, that life began crumbling. Nelly woke up one day with a high fever that refused to break. At first I thought it was just a cold and she'd be over soon enough. But as much as I tried to convince myself I should be better tomorrow, she kept getting worse, until eventually she couldn't even get out of bed. She had visibly lost weight, and I had never heard her voice so weak and lethargic before. Is there anything you'd like me to get you, Nelly?
All I want is you to be here with me, dearest Mel.
You really should eat something. I'll make you something you like. How about a nice expensive chicken? The last one got away, but I won't let that happen this time.
I'm not really in the mood for anything too heavy.
Oh, okay.
Don't you worry, Mel. I'll be better before you know it.
Yeah, you will. You'll be just fine. Everything's going to be back to normal soon. Watching Nelly grow weaker every day scared the hell out of me. I desperately did not want to lose her. If I lost her, then who would be left that wanted me? Who would tell me I was worth something? Who would say nice things about me? Who would be there with me every single day? Just when I had started to feel optimistic about this new life, started to feel comfortable in it, it was looking like it might fall apart again. I searched everywhere for some medicine that could cure her. Healthy foods, fruits and vegetables with supposed medicinal properties, anything I could get my hands on. I prayed. And Nelly, you were overjoyed. You were thrilled I would go to such lengths for you. But the reality is, I was really doing it for myself. But as much as I searched, I couldn't find anything that worked. I started to panic. I would go to bed at night afraid I'd wake up the next morning, and Nelly wouldn't. I was already grasping at straws, and I was ready to try anything that had even the slightest chance of curing her. And then one day, I heard whispers. Whispers of a witch who lived by the lake. They said she was a recluse, that she hardly ever left her house, and that she hadn't been down to the city in years. They told me she might have some medicinal herbs that could help, so I rushed down to the lake to see her. Sitting by the shore was a small cottage, even less luxurious than where Nellie and I were living at the time. Seeing the thin trails of smoke rising from the chimney, I was convinced the rumors were true. A witch lived in that house. I wasn't sure what to expect. Being a recluse, I figured she wasn't going to be very sociable, at the least. To tell you the truth, I was kind of scared to knock on her door. But I had exhausted all my other options, so I clenched my teeth and gave the door 2 firm raps.
Who's there?
The sound of her voice caught me off guard, and all I could do was stare at the door with a knot in my throat. Based on the information I had, I'd assumed I was going to find a wrinkly old woman. But that was the voice of a young girl. And even though she'd only said 2 words, there was something indescribably enchanting about that voice. I could listen to her talk for hours on end, in some kind of strange hypnotic trance. It was almost like magic, for lack of a better word. I stood there dumbfounded, like my soul had been sucked from my body.
Who's there?
She repeated her question, which brought me back to reality, though I had still had to fight to maintain my wits enough to respond coherently. My sister has fallen very ill, and she desperately needs medicine. I was told that the person who lives here is a skilled herbalist. Could I please get something to treat her? Sorry, if he's British, he should be saying herbalist.
What are her symptoms?
She's got an extremely high fever that won't come down. She has no appetite. She's only drinking water, and she can't get out of bed.
We're going to want to lower her fever first. After that, get her on a nutritious diet. Whatever. I'm new to this. I'm going to give you 2 medications. Give her the first while her fever's high, and the second after it's come down.
Thank you very much. Her voice wasn't bright and energetic like Nellie's. It was more restrained, somber and quiet, yet simultaneously clear and sharp. The sound tickled my curiosity. I wanted to know what she looked like. I wanted to know what kind of girl stood on the other side of that door. With a voice that pretty, she must be equally lovely, I thought. And I had to see it for myself. And my wish didn't fall on deaf ears. When she opened the door to hand me the herbal medicine and take my money, her head peeked out between the crack ever so slightly. I said I would tell you everything, exactly as it happened, so I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. It was unsettling. It was nothing like I had imagined from her voice. Her skin had, I guess, fallen off or something, because you could see the raw red flesh beneath. To say it was hard to look at would be an understatement. Most of her face was covered by a black hood, so all I could see was her mouth and chin, but even that much was harrowing. But the last thing I wanted to do was look away. For all I knew, that was why she had become a recluse. And I couldn't let myself hurt her, so I suppressed my own disgust and put on my best smile. People often tell me I have a very pleasant, amiable smile, so I figured I could use that to prevent her from picking up on what was actually going through my mind. And when she saw my face, a look of surprise seemed to cross hers. The witch's herbs did indeed seem to help some. Going to visit her was better than talking to any of the local doctors. Nonetheless, Nellie hadn't been cured. She was only feeling a little bit better. So I kept paying the witch visits, kept purchasing more herbs from her. And every time I went to that cottage and heard her sweet voice, I imagined how much sweeter it would sound without a door obstructing it. Even knowing what she looked like didn't stop the curiosity from growing within me. From what I gathered talking to her, there wasn't much of an age difference between us either. She was 16 and I was 17. And I'm sure you know how it is. When you meet someone around your age, you feel a sort of sense of kinship. This girl I had originally believed to be some sort of otherworldly witch was starting to feel like a regular person to me. Through our conversations, I managed to learn her name, as well as the fact that she had come here from a faraway country. We were both a long way from home. Thinking she might open up even more to someone who's been through a similar experience, I decided to try inviting her to go on a walk with me. It's not healthy to stay holed up inside all the time. You've got this beautiful lake right here. What do you say we take a little walk around the shoreline? To my surprise, she accepted. My girl, I love you so much. Great weather, isn't it? I love the way the sun reflects off the surface of the lake. It's gorgeous. Are you okay?
I'm in disbelief, to tell you the truth.
Huh? What for?
You've seen my face. You know how hideous I am. And still you invited me on a walk. You're a very peculiar person.
Is it really that strange? I mean, we're almost the same age, so I figure we might make pretty good friends.
You want to make friends? With me?
Well, sure. We've been through a lot of the same things, so we can understand each other better than most.
Understand each other?
Yeah. We're both youngs, but we've been through some rough times.
I'm going to be blunt with you. You have not been through anything like I have.
What? No.
If you had experienced the things I have, you wouldn't be smiling right now. I haven't known you long, but I don't need to have in order to know how unequivocally dissimilar we are. That we were cut from a very different cloth.
Well, yeah, we're people. We're not made of cloth, so...
That's not what that means, you know.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be so harsh. In fact, I would say you're much better off not being in my position.
It sounds like you've been through a lot. If you don't mind me asking, what happened to you? I'd be happy to lend an ear. It might make you feel better to get it off your chest.
And that is what's so different about us.
Huh?
I will not tell you about myself, no. That said, I do appreciate the concern. Thank you.
Sure, you're welcome. She's not very open with people, huh? Though I guess that's only to be expected. She hasn't spent much time around other people, looking the way she does. I wonder if there's anything I can do for her. At least get her to show a little bit of emotion. Say, if it's not too much to ask, you think maybe we could do this again sometime? God. Mel is so cringe.
Don't expect me to lower my prices.
I'm not trying to squeeze a better deal out of you. I just want to get to know you better. Nothing more to it. No ulterior motives, promise.
Did you forget I already said I won't be telling you about myself?
All right then, it doesn't have to be about you. We can talk about anything, whatever you want. Do you have a favorite food? Any hobbies?
Nothing in particular.
Wow, that was a fruitful conversation. Okay. Crap.
I have no interests or tastes worth mentioning, so if you want to talk, I suppose that leaves you to be the subject.
Me?
Tell me about yourself.
My life's not all that exciting. Anything I had to tell you would probably just bore you.
I'm not looking for excitement.
Oh, okay. Well, all right then. I guess I can tell you about myself. And so I did. I told her about my family situation. I told her about Nellie. That was pretty much all I had to talk about. For the most part, she hardly even reacted to anything I said, so it was difficult to tell if she was listening or not. But she would urge me to continue whenever I'd go quiet for more than a few moments, so I suppose she was listening. Every time I came to purchase more medicine, we would go on a walk around the lake together. A single loop around the shoreline didn't give us much time to talk, but my attempts to reduce our walking pace or stop to extend our time together were flatly ignored. She refused to go around more than once, claiming it would disturb her daily rhythm. That said, she never refused an invitation either, so I don't think she particularly disliked me. Yet anyway. Ooh, a robin!
Huh? What does a robin have to do with your sister?
Nothing, I just saw one over there. If you listen, you can hear it singing. They migrate somewhere warmer when it gets cold. They just fly off to someplace more comfortable. had wings like a bird, maybe I could be free too.
There is not a single creature living in this world that is free. Birds regularly get shot down by hunters or preyed on by larger birds. The idea that they are free is nothing more than man's short-sighted delusion.
Sorry, I guess.
No, I should be apologizing. I wasn't trying to attack you. I simply lack the ability to properly empathize with others. I do not understand people. So please, if I say anything that upsets you or makes you uncomfortable, don't assume that was my intention.
Sure. Maybe you're hiding it, or maybe you just don't know it yet, but I think you've got more empathy than you're letting on. Surely you can't say nothing affects you at all. You are human. So you don't have to be so closed off. I might not be able to do much for you, but I do want to get to know you better. I want to understand you. So if you ever feel like talking about yourself, just know that you've got an eager pair of ears here. Okay?
If there were ever someone who could understand me, who could empathize with me, they would not be human.
What do you mean?
That you would need to be far removed from any idea of humanity to have a chance at understanding me. Regardless, sorry, I do appreciate your kind words.
Sure. So, out of curiosity, do you have anyone, really important to you in your life?
Not at the moment.
Does that mean you used to? He just asked if she was single, please. I'd love to hear about them, if you don't mind.
They're all long dead. 4 years ago, something unpleasant occurred. And as a result of that, I was forced to part ways with the people who taught me that humans have the capability for kindness.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well then, if your sister's condition worsens again, come see me. Farewell.
Hey, maybe we could walk a little slower next time, so we have more time to talk. I want to get to know you better.
I'll consider it.
Does it really require that much thought?
So long.
Bye. See you soon. Things continued on like that for a while. Nellie bounced back and forth between getting better and getting worse. Emotionally, I followed not far behind, getting very little in the way of peace of mind. Having to spend so much time worrying over and looking after Nellie was starting to wear me out, even though I knew good and well she had it much worse than me. I wanted to be done with it all. I wanted to be free. I wanted her to get better as soon as possible, so I could stop agonizing over her. So at some point, I started wishing for a miracle. I didn't care if it came from God, an angel, or something less holy. I just wanted someone to cure Nellie and take the weight off my shoulders. And during one of our walks, I let that slip. I'll take anything at this point to make her better. I'll even take a miracle if I can get one. I assumed she would share this tendency to say that people who believed in miracles were delusional. She was, in my mind, very much a realist, which is why her response surprised me so much.
Do you sincerely wish for a miracle?
What?
Do you truly want a miracle, no matter what form it may take?
Well, yeah. I've tried everything else. God is all I can ask for help anymore. I know what you're going to say. There's no such thing as miracles. If there were, Nellie would already be better. I've prayed every single night for her recovery. It's all just a delusion, I know.
Miracles do exist.
What?
If you have faith and you sincerely wish for her to be healed, you will be granted your miracle.
What are you talking about, Morgana?
You've said many times that you wish to know more about me.
Yeah, I have.
Well, I'll grant you that wish. As you listen to my story, you will come to understand why I said you will never be able to empathize with me. And as you do, hope will sprout up within you. Here in my lakeside cottage, I am known as a witch, but I did not used to be called such.
No?
I am the daughter of God.
Keep going a little bit more. Most people would dismiss such a claim as madness, and I almost did exactly that. But there was something strangely enchanting about her voice, and I found myself slowly drawn into her tale, listening intently to her every word. The more I heard, the harder it was to believe she was lying. And before long I was convinced she was the daughter of God, a saint whose blood had miraculous powers. Her first cry ended a lengthy drought in the village where she was born, and her blood cured the sick. She rolled up one sleeve to show me her arm. Practically every inch of skin from her shoulder to the tips of her fingers was scarred from where she had been cut. According to her, the scarring had once been far worse, but had improved with the application of ointment. Every single one of those scars, she said, marked a person who had sought her blood. And I believed every word. There was something about her that set her apart from the rest of us normal people, like she was some higher being. They were not self-inflicted wounds, not the marks of someone who had tried to take her own life, but symbols of the great sacrifices she had made. She offered to give Nellie her blood, and without a moment's hesitation, I accepted. Hey, Nellie, I'm back. And I brought someone with me. A saint.
A saint?
Yep. She's here because medicine hasn't been working for you. She can perform miracles, so she's going to cure you.
Miracles?
That's right. Her blood has miraculous healing powers.
Blood? Fear not, my beloved sister. Hear my words and do as I say. You must have faith for the miracle to be performed correctly. I give you my blessing, that it may bestow unto you salvation. I give you my love, and I give you relief. Hear my words. I hear them. This body was created not in a mortal womb. This flesh is not the flesh of man. This blood is not the blood of man. The water that flows through these holy veins flows from the river of creation. Have mercy on them, O Father. May the infirm find comfort in your warmth. May the destitute find reprieve in your generosity. May my flesh bring nourishment and health unto this girl. Bestow upon her your blessing, O Father.
Morgana held a pale hand above Nellie's mouth, and without hesitation, sliced her own wrist. Blood slowly trickled down her middle finger from the cut, dripping into the gap between Nellie's bluish lips. I stood there entranced by the scene. It was like I was witnessing some kind of ritual. I wasn't sure, however, whether to describe it as sacred or profane. Watching the fresh blood trickle from her cut on the wrist made me break out into a sweat, feeling like I was violating a taboo. My knees rattled. I could barely stay on my feet. Needles prickled my hands. Thoughts slipped through my fingers before they could fully form. Had I crossed a line that wasn't meant to be crossed? Had I stepped into territory man was never supposed to enter? In time, I stopped processing Morgana's prayer as words. It became nothing but a rhythmical sequence of sounds bouncing around in my head. My line of sight grew gradually narrower.
Are you all right? The ceremony is complete.
How's Nellie?
She is asleep right now, but she should awaken soon.
Oh, good.
My blood has the power to cause miracles, but you must remember that the miracle is predicated on your faith.
So are you saying we need to worship you?
No, I am merely God's progeny. Your praises and prayers should be directed at my Father, the Lord God. I should get going then.
Hey, thank you very much. When Morgana had said I would never be able to understand or empathize with her, she had not been lying. Having only heard her tell of it, I still believed there was room for me to close the gap between us. That we still had enough in common. But seeing it with my own eyes, feeling it with my entire being, I no longer had any illusions of us being on the same plane. As I gave her my thanks, my voice was audibly trembling.
Mel, come on, get up, dearest Mel. Oh, Mel!
Nellie?
Finally, you're awake, sleepyhead. What's with the look? Am I making a funny face?
Are you good to be up and about?
Yep, I woke up this morning feeling wonderful. Feel my forehead, Mel. See? No fever.
It's gone. She actually performed a miracle.
I only remember bits and pieces, but I remember a really pretty saint lady showing up and giving me her blood.
That's how she remembers it? Her memory is pretty hazy, huh?
And then I got this warm and fuzzy feeling inside me. And then I had this really strange dream.
What kind of dream?
There were a whole bunch of lights floating all around me, and they were changing into all sorts of different colors. It was the most wonderful dream.
It doesn't help me understand at all, Nellie.
It was a good dream, and that's what matters. It must have been the saint lady's power at work.
Must be, yeah. I'm so relieved you're feeling better, Nellie.
Sorry for all the trouble I caused you, but now everything can go back to normal.
Yep, all back to normal.
She wants to thank me.
Yeah, Nellie is insisting I let her meet you so she can show her gratitude. So if it's all right, would you mind coming to supper sometime?
That would probably not be wise.
Huh? Why not?
It would hardly be pleasant having to eat in the presence of a face as grotesque as mine. And I doubt your sister would react well to the sight of it.
I don't think it would cause any problems. Nellie isn't the kind of girl to judge someone by their looks. I don't think.
Perhaps not. Oh, well, perhaps not. But to her, I'm a saint, not a normal person. In her mind, she thinks I'm beautiful, doesn't she? You must maintain that illusion. It is essential to the miracle that her faith remains unwavering, and on some level that faith depends on her idealized image of me.
You think so?
Though our time together was brief, I could see it in her. She is a girl with a great love of beauty. And perhaps the same could be said of you.
I don't judge people by how they look. It's what's inside that matters.
Sounds fake, but okay. I'll take you at your word.
Thanks. So, are you sure you don't want to come?
I really shouldn't. I'm terribly sorry.
Oh, okay. Why in the world am I feeling relieved? Nellie recovering was a huge weight off my shoulders. Now everything could go back to the way it was, quiet and unremarkable. I could finally go out and get a real job, forget about my old life, live like a regular old commoner. That was what I was going to do, for the both of us. The problem was, Nellie hadn't actually recovered completely. She was in nearly perfect health for the first few days after drinking Morgana's blood. But soon her fever came back. She stopped being able to get out of bed. To top it all off, she started having lengthy coughing fits. During some of them, she coughed off little bits of bloody phlegm. I nearly had a panic attack. So I rushed down to Morgana's cottage and told her what was happening, to which she responded with a quizzical tilt of her head. Nellie's health meant everything to me. It certainly wasn't the curiosity her head tilt made it seem to make it out to be. But it didn't seem to bother her at all.
The miracle took place, but it didn't persist. That doesn't make much sense.
But it's true. She can't get out of bed. And it's not a problem with her faith. I've been teaching her the word of God every night. And she's absolutely believes in you, in her saint.
Lower your voice. I will perform another miracle for her.
You'll do it again.
I will not forsake those who are in need.
And it'll stick this time, right?
I cannot promise anything.
But why? Your miracles aren't supposed to be temporary, are they?
Whether they are or not is decided by you and your sister.
You're my only hope, though.
Please do not worry. If a second blessing is not enough to cure her of her ailment, then I will visit and give her my blood as many times as is necessary. I will gladly give her every last drop of blood in my body. I assure you, my father does not want to see two young souls like yourselves torn apart. And neither do I. We should get going.
All right. For the second time, Morgana had Nellie drink of her blood. And for the second time, she was healthy again the next morning. For the second time, she fell ill again shortly thereafter. Her fever returned. I went to get Morgana. She gave Nellie her blood. The cycle repeated again and again. And every time, I had to watch her go through that ceremony. It was exhausting. I wasn't sure I could handle it much longer. I started thinking maybe there wasn't anything sacred about any of this. But it was as blasphemous as it looked from the outside. I was making a girl cut her own wrist and feed my sister her blood. Nothing about that sounded right. But I had nowhere else to go, no one else to ask for help. When I was with Morgana, listening to her words of reassurance, she, without fail, wiped away all the doubt I had. It wasn't until after she left that the wave of regret hit me. I wasn't sure what right and wrong was anymore. I wasn't sure what to do anymore. Every time I went to see Morgana, it got more and more difficult to look her in the eye. I stopped asking her on walks as often, and I stopped trying to have chats with her, so much out of a sense of guilt, but because I was getting to be afraid of her. Oh boy. I'm gonna have to leave it here. My voice can't take anymore. But I will definitely squeeze in a stream on Friday the 13th. Because what else would make sense besides a horror stream, right? But I will see you guys tomorrow with Sonic. And then next week with more Fata Morgana on Monday. And then again on Friday. Yeah, I'm super excited. I'm actually looking at the dates right now. Oops, that's the weather. That's the wrong thing. 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, I might also stream on the 20th. We'll see how the 13th goes. But I'm definitely streaming on the 13th. 6:30. Same time, same place. Just on Friday. So, hope you enjoyed. Boy howdy, we're just getting into it. Into the thick of it. Anyway, take care of yourselves. And I'll see you soon.